Well. Bunch of Americans are not paying their bill. The cost of living went through the roof, and everything else has just been so expensive that they're saying enough is enough. Let's just stop paying our credit card. And so we're looking at super high delinquencies in credit cards, and people are actually saying, you know what, I can't keep this going anymore, so let me just and stop paying some bills. And so I got the article right here, and you can Google this actually, and it is approximately 17% of Americans are not paying all their bills on time. And then they say, additionally, a separate study found that nearly 30% of Americans being behind on at least one bill, and about 48% of Americans have no money left over after paying their bills. And this is what 2025 feels like. It is just squeezing everybody dry. And so when I look at my demographic on YouTube and I see who is watching my videos, it is mostly people that are my age and older. It is not the young people that are really watching this. When I make my content and I tell them, hey, try not to get into debt. Try to make sure that if you're going to go into college and you're going to do big purchases, they will benefit you 10, 15 years down the road. But my audience is a little bit older, so this is kind of to you guys because I'm going to showcase a few videos here of young people struggling. And then I have a 40-year-old come on and give his 2 cents on this whole situation. But let's watch this young woman basically trying to make it, and she's basically really smart when you think about UCLA and 3.7 GPA. And so let's watch this. Has a little bit of F bombs, but let's watch it.
This job market is currently fucking me up. I'm just about now finishing up my DoorDash order. It's been very frustrating. I have no clue what's happening. I'm currently a junior at UCLA, 3.7 GPA. And honestly, it's been really difficult to find just a regular job. Cost of living here in LA is absolutely insane. I have student loans absolutely crushing me, and I don't really know what to do. Send out 400, maybe 500 applications at this point, either rejections or just no responses at all. And I feel like I'm absolutely fucked right now just because I've literally tried everything. Again, I'm literally door dashing right now. Resell things at fucking eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Depop, whatever. Managed to make some income through that, some on social media, even through just claiming some class action lawsuits on this app called Pay Me. Like a couple years ago, I used to play Fortnite when I was a little bit younger, and I was able to get $500 off of that, which has been a lot of help. But at the same time, like that's not really sustainable. Like it's not enough. It's not enough to literally survive on. So right now I'm in desperate need, trying to figure out where is everybody else applying jobs. So if you guys can help a sister out, I would greatly appreciate it.
So we just watched her video basically, and she's basically describing the situation as she's in college and she cannot get a white collar job. And it's like, man, the cost of living is brutally high and I just can't make it. So, in my opinion, this is what her parents should have told him. This is what I'm going to tell my little guy when he's going to grow up. This is super important. I would say there is no world where you're going to pay back hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan with the development of AI and everything else. So make sure you go into a career or you find a job that will pay you to go to college. There's a bunch of them listed right here, like Starbucks. You can go to ASU and do that. Walmart has it, and a bunch of other retail stores have it where they give you tuition reimbursement. Super huge, because the last thing you want to do is when you're in your 20s and you're going to be stuck like Chuck. So let's watch this woman basically talk about her situation.
And then I make the mistake of going in to check what my student loan balance is. And every time I am shook and I'm disappointed and I'm heartbroken just looking at the numbers. But it's fucking insane. I pay almost $900 towards my student loans, my Parent Plus student loans every month. And I was just doing the math, like comparing the principal amount with interest and like the amount of money I've paid. I looked at what the balance was, that I guess the last time I checked was in January actually. So the balance was like still over 100K. But then when I did the math for the balance now, the only difference is like almost $1,400. So I've only brought down the total by $1,400. even though I have been paying almost $1,000 every month. And that is how we all get fucked over by interest.
So, yeah, so she basically said that interest is working against her. And if you like content like this, please like and subscribe. That would really help out my channel and that would help me gain more reach so it reaches other people that this message might help. And so, okay, so this lady basically said, I've been paying and it was 100 grand in student loans and the balance has not gone down. And so now you can apply that if you have 100 grand in a savings account or somewhere where to pay you interest and you get the same amount of interest and you can live off of that $1,000 a month, then you never ever have to touch your principal. And the other way around is where somebody where you owe that 100,000 to somebody, they want their payment. And this is why I constantly tell people either go into tech where you can then kind of figure something out where you can go on Fiverr or somewhere else and sell your services, or go into the trades where you can make $500-600 over the weekend doing some electrical work or doing some plumbing work. And obviously, right, cash, you're going to report it, right? But if you're going to go into manufacturing and you're going to become uh, and there's nothing wrong with manufacturing, but if you're going to go into manufacturing and become quality control inspector, supervisor, CNC operator, there's just not that much need outside of that operation where you can go and you can make $200-300 for an hour worth of work because you show up to somebody's house and say, yeah, I need a GFI over here and I need something else over there, can you do that? Yeah, it's $300-400. Okay, sweet. And you do that real quick. The thing is, if you're manufacturing, you can pick up extra shifts, but then they'll tax it and do everything else. And yeah, you might be able to do that, but it's nice to just kind of get a few little $100, some flash cash pretty quick when you need it. And it's like, man, I can always pick up a little bit of something. Because one of the problems is that if you're going to go into college and you're then thinking about going into tech, you're going to go into the world and the world hasn't waited on you. There's just no waiting, no nothing. And the world's just like keeps on moving. And you're like, man, what do I do? You got to start building relationships. A funny story, when you exit college and you're going to go out into the world and offer your services to companies, or you're trying to go off on your own, one thing that I figured now is super crucial is relationships. And one of my professors in California, Philip, right here, he's a good friend of mine now. You should go follow him on LinkedIn and watch some of his podcasts or whatever he has out there, because he's like the master at building relationships and trying to then leverage those relationships into opportunities. And so he taught me at an early age, like I was like I think like mid-20s, that relationships are everything. And from coming from Switzerland with my Swiss mindset, I always said, no, it's not about relationships. It's about hard skill versus soft skills, everything else. And comes to find out, the first job out of college, in my opinion, is all about hard skills. Can you do it? And if you can't, then and if you can do it, great. If you can't, you're out. But then after that, you need to leverage those relationships. And with that, then you will get more and better, even better opportunities. And so when I'm looking at it, it's like, man, you don't want to waste time of trying to figure out after college with a hell of a lot of debt, what are you going to do with your life? Because the longer you're going to wait, you're going to wake up one day, you're going to be in your mid 40s, and you're like, man, I have nothing to show for it. And I'm actually in trouble. And there's people that actually say this, and I'm going to show this video of this 40-year-old. And yeah, let's watch this, and then we talk about this too.
I'm 40 and I wasted my life. I've got nothing to show for it. No house, no savings, no career that I'm proud of. And if you're in your 20s or even your early 30s and you think you've got time, I'm telling you right now, you don't. If you're in your 20s right now and you're listening to this, stop thinking you've got unlimited time. Stop doing it. You don't have unlimited time. You think it's harmless to keep chasing women and wasting money and avoiding responsibility. But one day, you'll wake up and you'll realize you've got no leverage. You've got no power, absolutely no clarity, and no way to get those years back. One day you will wake up and you will be 40.
So this is basically a wake-up call to the younger generation of, hey, if you cannot pay your bills and you're like, ah, man, I can't do it, you gotta start switching that today. You have now the opportunity when you're living inside the United States to wake up tomorrow and become 100% different than you were today, or 100% better. You just have to realize that there's a problem first. And then once that happened, and it's like, okay, how do I do this? And then you carve out a plan for yourself. And maybe you have to take some walks, take some breaths, and just kind of figure something out. Where do I want to go in life? Do I want to keep doing that 9 to 5 property management job, or do I want to do something greater for myself? Get another license, get another certification that I would actually really enjoy doing, where I then can make a lot more money and I can provide better for my family. And so when you can't pay your bills, you got to think creatively. How can I turn this around? And how can I figure out how can I figure out what the marketplace needs in my area, and then kind of cater towards that. And if you're living in Florida, maybe it is tree trimming, palm trimming, or something else. And I'm not in that marketplace, so I really don't know. And I'm just giving you some ideas what you can do. And maybe it is Southwest Florida, it's property rentals to German. So you learn German so you can rent German people's properties out. I've seen it all. And you can make a pretty decent living, but you gotta really, really try, and you gotta do, and you're gonna fail. That's another thing that's gonna happen is you are gonna fail. And once you're gonna fail, and you fail not once, you fail twice, you fail 3 times, you say, you know what? Every failure I've that happened to me has been a life lesson, and it's actually been really, really, really valuable. And once you've done that enough, and then all of a sudden you start hitting home runs, you're starting to hit better, and all of a sudden you're gaining more clients, and maybe it's just 1 or 2 clients that you're going to get. And you're like, man, I need more clients, I need more clients. And then you got to see, how did I get those first 2? And you replicate, and you become even better at it. You become better at sales, you become better at who you are, and all of a sudden you're going to be doing better, because I'm telling you, customer service is something that a lot of people lack. So if you can offer better customer service to people, you're already ahead of the game. And sometimes it's a differentiator between going with somebody else or you, because of your customer service, your quick response times. And then they're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to give him a try and see what happens. And all of a sudden you're going to be fine. But you really got to figure out, in this time where people can't pay their bills and can't do it, how do I position myself? And to be 100% transparent with you guys, in Switzerland, I did not have the maturity or the knowledge on how to become successful. It took me going to the United States and then just start trying at it. And I had so much help from so many people that given me great advice that pointed me in the right direction. And then all of a sudden you can then become successful. You just have to figure out what success looks like to you. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, how did you do it? I did it with relationships. That's what it's all coming down to. And some people say, oh, I can't build relationships. And when you're going to come in the comments and say, I can't build relationships, if you're going to put that out, Atomic Habits talks about it, and you should probably buy that book, because they're saying if you're going to constantly say something like that out loud, it's going to happen. You're not going to build these relationships. But if you're going to go out and you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to talk to somebody today, and I'm going to ask him about their favorite food in town, or where's the best place to do this. And all of a sudden, you push yourself just a little bit more every day. All of a sudden, opportunities will come to you because you attract them. But if you're closed minded, you're sitting there, arms crossed, looking mean, nobody's going to want to approach you, right? So you have to be approachable. You have to put yourself out there. And all of a sudden, opportunities will come to you, employer wise, financially, and everything else. And then you don't really have to go out and do sales. You will have inbound sales that are way easier to close if you start putting yourself out there. Post content or do something, all of a sudden, there's opportunities coming. But like I said, you got to do the relationship building. You got to figure out, where do I want to go, and not wait till, like this guy, till you're 40 and you're like, oh man, I kind of wasted a bunch of time. Because for me, I tried to, until Calvin, I was like, man, let me work every day I figured on how to improve stuff. Me and Ali, we had late night sessions of brainstorming, of coming up with plans on how to actually make it. And all of a sudden, it made click at one point, and then you just replicate, and you have a winning formula. But it might take 1,000 tries. It might take 100 tries, depending on your market and where you're at. And all of a sudden, you might have a winning formula, and you will then expand, sell the business, and then move to Mexico and retire at the beach and drink margaritas, right? But you got to put in the steps, you got to put in the work, and you got to be approachable. So there's a bunch of hurdles that people need to jump through and then kind of go out and do it. And one thing is that I see with a lot of people that all of a sudden they get some success, then they buy a bigger house, they buy a bigger car, and then they're right back to square one because now their cost of living just went up. But even though they're making more, they're still saving the same amount of money that they did before. It is just now amplified with their spending. So before they were driving a Camry, now they got the Beamer. They lived in a 2,000 square foot house, now they're living in a 3,500 square foot house. So everything went up, and now they're still like, man, I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. So you got to be honest about yourself. And whenever I talk about AI, people are like, "Oh, it's a bubble, and you can't. It's not reliable." In ways to keep you accountable, it is very reliable. You can ask your questions. You can upload statements. You can say, "This is where I'm struggling. I do not know why I can't pay my bills every month," and upload all the statements into it and say, "Okay, now give me a plan how I can be ahead." 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. And sometimes it will then be the hard truth coming out that you're overspending. You bought a car you couldn't afford. You're in a too of an expensive apartment. Look for roommates, do something else. And that brings me to another thing where me and Ali, our first house that me and her bought, we did not want it to pay the full mortgage. So it was a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. The first, I think, 4 years out of our marriage, we always had people renting from us just rooms because we could not afford it. And well, we could have afforded it, but it was nice to get that money coming in so we can invest it, so we can use that money to then leverage into something else, into bigger. And now I live in a really nice house. I drive really nice cars, but it was that 5 to 6 years where it really kind of sucked, where you were living with other people. I remember I had this girl that rented from me and Ali, and she went to Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I see her puking over the counter, and I was like, man, we got to go to the hospital. All of a sudden her dad comes, then we call her dad and be like, yo, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'll come. She's not feeling so good in the hospital. The first thing she asks us is she doing drugs? Is she doing Oxycontin? I was like, I don't know. It's your daughter. She's just renting a room from me. I don't even know. But yeah, so we've been burnt with that. We've been doing all kinds of stuff. But now, looking back at it, I would all do it again because this put me in a situation where I'm living in Las Vegas. I have a nice house. I have a nice car, and me and Ali are really well off now. And so it was that 5 to 6 years with renting rooms, of living with rats in the walls, with doing all that kind of stuff that most people don't want to do, with working 14, 16 hours. And now I graduated, and now I'm like, I don't want to do that no more. And now I feel like I personally deserve to not do that anymore. But if you're struggling and you can't do it, it might be worth for you to look into it. You don't have to do it forever. You can just do it for a short period of time. And if you can do it for 6 years and then you're so good for the rest of your life, I think it's very well worth it. So let me know what you guys think about all this. And yeah, if you haven't, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.